Welcome back, this is part 6 of What Happened to the Terminator series. Terminator Genisys? Yeah, I know it's pronounced Genesis, but if they're not going to spell it right, I'm not going to say it right. Going back to the events of the first movie, Kyle Reese is sent back in time by John Connor to protect Sarah from the Terminator. However, when Kyle arrives, he discovers that things don't play out the way they're supposed to, as yet another pair of Terminators have been sent even further back in time and altered the established timeline. A T-1000 was sent to kill Sarah when she was a child, and yet another Arnold bot has been sent back to protect her, and has been raising her ever since. Now Sarah, Kyle, and the new Terminator must team up to stop Skynet and yada yada yada. Yeah, you get the drift by now.
Come with me if you want to live!
So what did I think of this movie? Well, it wasn't god-awful, I'll say that. Yeah, I know that's damning with faint praise. You know, I was actually willingly going along with this movie for about the first half. Arnold has surprisingly still got it after all these years. Going into the movie, I was really worried that the only thing going through my head would be, oh god, Arnold is so old now. But you know what? When I see him on screen, I still just see the Terminator.
I'll be back.
What?
And the way they use time travel to explain his age works nicely into the plot. It's living tissue over a metal endoskeleton, so it makes sense that it would age like normal skin. And having the Terminator raise Sarah from childhood is a nice way to form a relationship between these characters. Plus, I like the idea of using time travel to actually go back to the events of the first movie. It's why I like Back to the Future 2 so much. It's like you're not just going back to a time earlier in the series universe, but you're actually taking the audience back to see the last film from a new perspective. I thought it was very clever how the movie started off like it was going to be a remake of the first movie, but then because time travel has disrupted the original timeline, all of a sudden things don't play out like they did before, and you're like, whoa, that wasn't supposed to happen. Great Scott, it's the ripple effect! Suddenly all bets are off. I love that kind of stuff. But all the while I've got these niggling little thoughts just going in the back of my mind. Weird plot points that don't make sense. Like how it's never explained by who, how, or why Arnold and the T-1000 were sent back to the 70s to get Sarah as a kid. Or why they need to then travel to the present to stop Skynet instead of doing it in 1984. Or how the T-1000, which can't form complex machinery because it doesn't work that way, somehow now can for some reason. Or how at various points in the film characters seem to know information that they in no way had access to. Or how they even use the whole shoot him, he's the real clone, no shoot him, he's the real clone gag. I mean, I've only ever seen that done in parodies. This is the first time I've ever seen it done straight. The dialogue, especially early in the film, has some of the most cringingly forced exposition and character backstories I've heard in a long time. I mean, the characters are just about saying, hello, I am Kyle Reese. I am a warrior from the future. I am here to protect you. I also grew up on a farm with a puppy named Fido, and that is why you should care about me. This awkward writing stretches into the explanations for the oddities in the movie's timeline as well. The nexus points in the quantum fields combined with the memories from alternate timelines, which I know what all these words mean, but this sentence makes no fucking sense! And there's some sketchy effects as well. Pretty much all of the effects in the movie are CGI. Most of it's not even very good CGI. I mean, good god, Terminator 2 is 24 years old now, and the CGI in that still looks better than the opening battle of this movie, which looks like it was right out of a video game. And then the movie tries to recreate scenes from the first Terminator using CGI. And look, I get it. When you're doing stuff from new angles that weren't in the original movie, you pretty much have got to use CGI for that. But so many of the shots in this movie are literally shot-for-shot recreations of parts from the first movie. So why didn't they just actually use footage from the first movie instead of this uncanny valley bullshit? It might have something to do with the rights issues. MGM owns the rights to the first movie and Paramount made this one, but you can't tell me that licensing clips from MGM would be more expensive than the millions of dollars in CGI used to make this. But you know what? I actually still managed to put all those gripes aside and willingly continued to suspend my disbelief for the first half of this movie. Then John Connor showed up, and he's been turned into a Terminator now. What the balls. I mean, I don't even know where to start. The whole point of the other movies was that Skynet was trying to kill John Connor so that they would win the war. But now Skynet has John, but the war is still going on, and now John has gone back in time so that he can kill Sarah and Kyle. But hang on, if John kills his parents, he'll never be born, and the whole point of killing Sarah is to get John, but Skynet already has John. This makes no fucking sense! They give a couple of limp-wristed lines trying to explain this, something about how now that they're out of their own time period, John can kill Sarah without affecting the timeline. But that's bullshit, because the entire point of traveling through time in all these movies is to change the timeline by killing people. You can't just change the rules of your own movie and expect it to still make sense. This stupid idea would have been born from the writer's incessant need to up the stakes from the previous movies. It's been a long-standing belief in Hollywood that every new movie has to be bigger, better, and more badass than the last one. That's how you go from Die Hard being about a man trapped in a building to being about a man fighting across all of Russia. And so every Terminator sequel has had to have a new Terminator that is bigger, badder, and more dangerous than the last one. But the problem was that after the T-1000, there's not much more you can go with that. You've got an enemy that can morph into any shape and regenerate from more damage. So short of making the next Terminator a fucking Super Saiyan, how the hell are you supposed to top that? And so they come up with this gimmick of making John Connor a Terminator, which to me reeks of a couple of writers banging their heads against a wall in desperation, trying to make a more interesting villain, when one of them goes, "I got it! We'll make John Connor a Terminator! That'll up the stakes!" What? But that makes no sense. Bubble up the stakes? Oh, fuck it, let's go with it. And it just gets more ridiculous from there. The action is so over the top, it may as well be a Looney Tunes cartoon. It's like the writers knew that the first two Terminator movies were the best ones, but then couldn't grasp the subtleties of why they weren't. And so they just threw everything at the screen from the first two Terminator movies in a desperate attempt to see if something sticks. You like the liquid metal Terminator? Well, this movie's got one too. You want a T-800, but you want an evil one like T1 or a good one like T2? Fuck it, here's both of them, and they'll fight now. You like the helicopter chase from T2? Well, here's another one, but it has two helicopters. You like time travel? Well, there's enough time travel in this movie to make Doc Brown blush. Hey, you like how Skynet was such a great omnipresent threat in the other movies? Well, we're gonna literally personify him as an actual guy in this movie. Because, fuck it, who cares anymore? And then the movie ends on a dumbass cliffhanger with the sole purpose of suckering us into seeing the sequel. Yeah, don't check to see if Skynet's dead before you leave, Sarah. I'm sure it'll be fine. It's not like this is the 70th time they've come back from the dead. Skynet's giving Jason a run for his money at this point. Like I said, the movie isn't painful to sit through, but I was just so uninterested in it. I mean, before I went in, I was standing in line at the theatre looking at the marquee, and just taunting me were all these titles for these really cool movies that were playing. Inside Out, Ex Machina, Jurassic World, Mad Max, Fury Road. I mean, I've seen Mad Max like 4 times already, but I could just go again, right? Oh no, I guess I've got to see the shitty new Terminator movie so I can do a review. And if you had told me as a kid that one day I would be so uninterested in only seeing a new Terminator movie, I would have looked at you like you were from another planet. I'd never believe you. But that's the world we live in now. You know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna see Mad Max again.